The galaxy had known wars before. Many species had risen, fought, and fallen. Fleets had clashed, planets had burned, and empires had died in silence. But what appeared at the edge of the Orion Arm was unlike anything the galaxy had seen for centuries. It began with a single shadow. Alien scouts patrolling the borders of known space saw it first. A blur in the black void, a ripple against the stars. At first, their sensors dismissed it as nothing. But then the readings came again, stronger this time. Something was moving. Something enormous. The scout captain, a four-eyed creature named Seraph, leaned closer to the flickering screen. "No, this is wrong," he whispered. His crew shifted uneasily. They were soldiers of the Dreth Dominion, a war empire feared across 50 star systems. They were used to seeing enemy fleets, smugglers, pirates, even strange anomalies in deep space, but this was different. The scanner could not lock on properly. It showed a massive spherical object, larger than a moon, wrapped in energy fields. Behind it, smaller dots of light flickered shapes of ships, sleek and silent, holding formation around the sphere. "Is it a planet?" one of the crew asked nervously. Seraph shook his head. "Planets don't move like this." The object drifted slowly, but it was not drifting by chance. It was directed. It was coming straight toward Dreth territory. In the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, chaos unfolded. Dozens of alien species crowded the room, their voices overlapping in fear and confusion. The news had spread too quickly. Strange objects detected, fleets assembling, something unknown moving from the Terran region of space. Terrans, humans, the very name caused unease. Humanity was still considered young by galactic standards. Barely. A few centuries since their first faster-than-light jump. Most species looked down on them. Small worlds, scattered colonies, a single fragile homeworld. Nothing compared to empires that had ruled for millennia. But humans had one thing no other species carried in such dangerous amounts: stubbornness. They never surrendered easily. They fought like cornered predators. The Council remembered the wars of the past when Dreth fleets had tried to enslave them. Human losses had been enormous, but still they had not given up. They had bitten back. Hard. Now, whispers filled the chamber. The humans, what have they built? Is it true they move a sphere the size of a moon? No species can construct such a thing. It is impossible. Then explain the readings. The Dreth scouts do not lie. The Speaker of the Council, an insectoid being with crystal-like wings, slammed its staff for silence. "We must not panic. Perhaps this is an error. Perhaps this sphere is not a weapon. Humanity is small. Humanity cannot." But the chamber grew silent when a hologram flickered to life in the center. It was the image captured by the Dreth scouts. The massive sphere filled the chamber with its presence. Gray metal, endless surface panels, lights glowing faintly across its hull. It was artificial. It was built. It was not a planet. Every species in the chamber felt the same chill. Far away, in the cold darkness of space, the sphere continued its silent journey. Inside, thousands of humans moved with precision. This was no ordinary station. This was Earth's ultimate gamble. The humans had studied the galaxy. They had watched empires rise and fall. They had suffered attacks, betrayals, and near extinction. And from all that suffering, they had built one answer: the Death Star. For years, the galaxy had laughed at the idea of humans creating superweapons. They had mocked Earth's scientists as reckless dreamers. But the humans never cared. While the galaxy debated laws and treaties, humanity dug into its soil, mined its asteroids, and forged steel from the bones of dead worlds, piece by piece. They had built their monster. And now it was awake. The fleet surrounding it was no less terrifying. Sleek warships shaped like blades, heavy carriers filled with fighters, cruisers humming with hidden weapons. But what unsettled the Dreth scouts most was not their numbers. It was their silence. The human fleet moved with discipline, without flashing signals or wasteful chatter. Like predators stalking prey. Captain Sereth's report reached the Dreth. High Command. The alien warlords laughed at first. Humans cannot build such a thing, one said, slamming his clawed fist against the table. It is a trick, an illusion, another hissed. Even if it is real, it will move too slowly. We will tear it apart before it fires a shot. But one old general did not laugh. His scales were dull with age, his voice raspy, but his eyes sharp. You do not understand humans, he said. You think them weak because they lack our centuries of empire. But I fought them once. I saw their soldiers. When you break their bones, they fight with their teeth. When you take their weapons, they fight with their fists. They never stop. And if they have built this, it is not a trick. It is a promise. Silence followed his words. For the first time, doubt crept into the hearts of the Dreth commanders. The humans did not announce their arrival. They sent no warnings, no demands. Their fleet appeared near the border of Dreth space, and simply waited. Alien probes tried to scan the sphere, but every signal returned, scrambled. The surface reflected all attempts to measure it. Some probes vanished, crushed by invisible defenses, and then it happened. The sphere moved. Slowly, deliberately, it shifted its angle. Panels along its surface glowed brighter. Energy fields crackled like lightning. A deep vibration spread through the void, too low for ears but heavy enough for sensors to scream in alarm. Alien fleets. Scrambled. Defensive positions, their admiral shouted. Prepare for impact. But the humans did not target them. The Death Star aimed at a barren moon nearby. Its super laser core charged, light gathering in a blinding beam. And in a single breath of fire, the moon ceased to exist. One instant solid rock, the next instant dust and gas scattering across space. Billions of tons of matter erased. Silence followed. Every alien who saw it, every species who received the transmission, understood the truth. If this weapon turned toward them, they would vanish just as easily. In the Galactic Council, fear became terror. They destroyed a moon. No fleet, no shield can survive such power. Why would humans build such a monster? The Speaker of the Council trembled. We must open negotiations, we must. But another counselor cut him off, voice shaking. No, you do not negotiate with predators. You pray they do not notice you. The words spread like poison. Meanwhile, inside the Death Star, a single human commander stood at the viewport, watching the dust of the destroyed moon scatter. His face was calm, his eyes cold. Around him, officers worked in silence, recording data, running calculations, preparing the weapon for another test. This was not pride. This was not arrogance. This was preparation for war. Because the humans knew the truth. The Dreth Dominion was gathering its forces. The alien armada was already on its way, millions of ships strong. And the only thing that could stop them was the monster humanity had unleashed. The commander whispered quietly, almost to himself. They thought we were prey. They thought Earth would kneel. Let them come. We will show them what it means to fear the dark. The Death Star drifted onward, silent as a ghost. The galaxy held its breath. The arrival had begun. The galaxy had not slept since the silent destruction of the moon. Every council, every empire, every smuggler and trader had seen the recordings. The image of the massive sphere glowing, firing, and erasing a moon in seconds traveled faster than light itself. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some called it a doomsday weapon. Others said it was fake, an illusion created by humans. But those who had seen it with their own eyes, they did not doubt that it was real. And it was awake. Alien fear in the Dreth dominions. Central War Chamber. The alien warlords screamed at each other. Clawed hands slammed against metal tables, tails lashed in anger, and sharp teeth snapped. They dare bring such a weapon to our borders. We will not let prey creatures threaten the Dominion. We will swarm them with numbers. Their toy cannot stop us. But the old general, the one who had fought humans before, stayed silent. His scaled hands trembled slightly as he stared at the hologram of the sphere. Finally, he spoke in his deep rasp. You do not understand what you are facing. The younger commanders hissed at him. It is just metal. It is just technology. Our fleets will tear it apart. The old general shook his head slowly. No, this is not just metal. This is human will forged into a shape. When humans build, they do not build for beauty or tradition. They build to kill. And when they kill until nothing remains. The room fell silent. None dared argue, but none accepted his words fully either. Pride blinded them. The silent fleet out in the void. The human fleet did not move recklessly. The Death Star hovered like a dead moon, but around it the escorting warships spread in perfect formation. Each ship was quiet, running minimal signals. Alien spies tried to listen, but the humans used codes no one could break. Their discipline made the aliens uneasy, a fleet of predators. Not loud, not clumsy, silent, waiting. Alien scouts reported every detail back to their empires. The humans do not speak. The humans do not signal. They move like shadows. Some alien leaders laughed at the reports. They are just trying to frighten us. But even their laughter was forced. None could erase the image of the moons. Destruction. Inside the monster inside the Death Star, things were far from silent. Thousands of crew worked without pause. Engineers maintained the super laser systems. Pilots checked hangars filled with fighters. Troopers drilled in long, endless corridors. At the center of it all stood the command bridge, a vast chamber of steel and glass overlooking the black sea of stars. Commander Marcus Hawley stood with his hands behind his back, staring outward. His uniform was dark, his face calm. But in his eyes burned something that no alien could understand. Humanity's anger. He remembered Earth. He remembered the attacks, the betrayals by alien empires, the countless dead. He remembered the Dominion. Fleets that had tried to enslave his people, burning colonies, erasing cities. Humanity had survived, but the scars never faded. Now, humanity had an answer. Status report, Hawley said quietly. Super laser charge is stable. Weapon systems on standby. Fleet escorts in position, replied his second-in-command, a woman named Captain Reyes. And the Marines? Hawley asked. Reyes allowed herself a small smile. Eager, hungry, waiting for the order. Hawley nodded. Slowly, the galaxy thought the Death Star itself was the weapon. They had no idea what else it carried. Alien spies tremble. Several alien scout ships attempted dangerous missions. They crept close, trying to take scans. But every time they approached, something strange happened. Their systems went dark. Their engines froze. And then, drifting helplessly, they watched in horror as human ships emerged silently from the black. No warnings, no chatter. Just weapons locking on. One spy ship was lucky. It escaped, limping back to its fleet with half its systems burned. The crew refused to speak. Their captain, pale and shaking, whispered only one sentence to his commanders. They watched us. Like hunters watching prey, the others were not lucky. No wreckage was ever found. The galaxy reacts. News of the failed spies spread even faster than the first destruction. The galaxy panicked. They destroyed the scouts. No, where's they? Erased them. Why won't the humans speak? Why won't they send messages? This silence was more terrifying than words. If the humans had demanded tribute, if they had shouted for revenge, at least it would have been understood. But humans said nothing, and silence to the galaxy meant only one thing: war. The test of fear. The Death Star did not fire again immediately. Days passed. Alien fleets gathered. Some species began moving their civilians deeper into core worlds. Entire colonies emptied out, afraid that the human sphere would erase them next. But then it happened again. Panels along the Death Star's surface began to glow. Energy built up, humming across the void. Alien sensors screamed warnings. Fleets prepared to scatter, but the beam did not aim at them. Instead, it struck an empty asteroid belt. In one flash of light, thousands of rocks vaporized, turning into glowing dust. The humans were not attacking. They were demonstrating, showing the galaxy over and over that they had the power to erase anything. It was not a battle. It was a message. The Council in panic in the Galactic Council chamber. Fear boiled over. Dozens of species shouted at once. They are testing their weapon again. This is madness. No species should hold such power. They must be stopped before they decide to aim at us. The speaker tried to calm them. We do not know their intentions, but a reptilian counselor slammed his fist. Intentions? They have built a weapon that can erase worlds. What more proof do you need? The humans are preparing for extermination. Others whispered desperately. Should we unite against them, or should we bow before them? The Council had faced many crises, but never before had every species looked into the dark and wondered, will humanity destroy us next? The awakening soldiers inside the Death Star's lower hangars. Thousands of armored humans prepared. They were called Space Marines. Tall, armored, giants in black and steel suits. They drilled with weapons, their boots shaking the metal floors in unison. Their chants echoed like thunder. No mercy, no retreat. Humanity first. Alien spies never saw them. The galaxy thought the Death Star was only a gun. They had no idea it also carried legions of living nightmares. Commander Hawley watched them. Once from the upper deck. His heart was steady, but his mind was sharp. The galaxy thought humans would use the Death Star as their shield. They did not understand the truth. The Death Star was not a shield. It was a cage. And inside it were monsters that would soon be unleashed. The first challenge finally, the Dreth Dominion lost patience. Their pride could not stand waiting while humans displayed power. An entire fleet of 200 destroyers moved forward, forming a blockade near the human sphere. The Dreth Admiral broadcasted his voice across open channels. Humans, you are trespassing in Dominion space. Withdraw your weapon or face annihilation. The human fleet did not respond. Do you hear us? Withdraw immediately. The aliens shouted again. Still silence. The Dreth ships prepared to fire. Their engines flared, their weapons charged. Across the galaxy, other species held their breath. Would humans finally answer? Inside the Death Star, Commander Hawley watched calmly. He turned to Captain Reyes. Target their lead ship, he said softly. The super laser panels shifted. The core hummed. And then, with terrifying speed, a single beam fired. The Dreth Admiral never finished his next sentence. His flagship vanished. In white light, shredded into atoms. The remaining 199 destroyers froze, their weapons powered down. Slowly, one by one, they turned and fled. The galaxy in shock. Billions across the galaxy watched the recordings. A single shot. A fleet shattered. Silence. The humans had not spoken a single word, not one threat, not one demand. They simply erased their enemy and waited. And that silence was more terrifying than any war. Commander Hawley stood by the viewport, watching the Dreth retreat. He did not smile. He did not gloat. His face was stone, his voice quiet. Now, they understand, he murmured. Captain Reyes glanced at him. Understand what? That humanity no longer begs, Hawley said. From this day, the galaxy will learn fear. Behind him, the Death Star's core glowed faintly. It was not done. It was only waking up. The galaxy had seen fleets before. It had seen wars, battles, and blood. But what the galaxy had not yet seen was the true face of humanity's soldiers. Until now, all eyes had been on the giant sphere, the Death Star. They thought it was the only terror humanity carried. They believed the humans would hide behind its superlaser. They believed wrong, because hidden within that metal monster were warriors bred for war, trained for brutality, and ready to be unleashed. The galaxy was about to meet the Space Marines. Calm before, after the destruction of the Dreth fleet, silence hung across the stars. No alien dared approach too close. Probes were destroyed. Scouts were erased. The human fleet floated like a wall of steel. And at its center, the Death Star glowed faintly, humming with endless power. But deep inside the monster, the real storm was building. Rows upon rows of armored humans stood in hangar bays. Black armor, heavy helmets, weapons larger than most aliens had ever carried. Their bodies were enhanced, their strength doubled by training and design. They were not normal soldiers. They were the Space Marines, humanity's iron fist. Their boots thudded in rhythm against the steel floor. Their chants echoed, steel and fire, blood and honor, humanity above all. Every word made the hangars shake like thunder. Alien. Mistake the Dreth Dominion could not swallow their pride. Losing a fleet of 200 destroyers was a humiliation. They needed to strike back, to show the galaxy they were still feared. So they made a mistake. They launched a forward base near a resource-rich planet close to human space. They fortified it with defenses, filled it with soldiers, and dared the humans to come. Their leaders laughed. The humans will not risk their giant toy against us here, the Dreth Admiral sneered. They only hide behind that sphere. They are too afraid for real war. But he was wrong. Deadly wrong. Orders given inside the Death Star. Commander Marcus Hawley received the intelligence. The Dreth had established a forward outpost. Hawley studied the holomap silently. They are baiting. U.S., Captain Reyes said. They want us to move the Death Star into their trap. Hawley shook his head slowly. His eyes were cold. We won't move the Death Star. We'll send the Marines. The hangars came alive instantly. Sirens blared. Dropships prepared. Marines loaded weapons, checked armor, and stood ready. The air buzzed with energy. The order spread like fire. Deploy. The Dreth soldiers on the forward base relaxed. They had fortified their bunkers. Their cannons faced the sky. They expected human warships. Maybe even the Death Star itself. But what came was different. The first alien soldier noticed the shadows, dozens, then hundreds, falling from the sky. The alarm screamed too late. The humans were already coming down in waves of black dropships. Sleek and armored, cutting through the atmosphere like burning meteors. The ground shook when they landed. Doors exploded open, and the monsters stepped out. The first clash, the Dreth opened fire. Plasma cannons lit the battlefield, spraying deadly light across the ground. But the Marines did not stop. Their armor absorbed the first waves. Their shields flickered but held. Then the humans answered. Heavy rifles roared, spitting streams of fire that cut through alien ranks like paper. Explosions rocked the base as grenades turned bunkers into fireballs. The Dreth screamed and fought, but the Marines moved like machines, fast, coordinated, merciless. One Marine tore through an alien barricade with his bare hands, dragging enemies out and snapping their necks. Another carried a weapon so large that it shredded an entire platoon in one burst. The Dreth commander shouted in panic, "They are not soldiers. They are demons." And in their eyes it was true. Terror. Spreads. The Dreth tried to regroup. They called reinforcements. Dropships landed more troops. They outnumbered the Marines 5-1. But numbers meant nothing. The Marines advanced step by step, their voices echoing over coms. No mercy, no surrender. Dreth soldiers shot them, stabbed them, even detonated suicide bombs. The Marines kept coming, They bled, but they did not stop. Their armor smoked, their visors cracked, but their movements were relentless. In less than an hour, the forward base was a graveyard. The Dreth banners burned. Human flags rose. Captured alive, not all Dreth were killed. A few survivors were captured, dragged before the Marines in chains. Their bodies shook in fear. One Marine leaned close, his visor reflecting the aliens' terrified eyes. His voice was a low growl. "Tell your leaders. Tell them what you saw here. Tell them the Death Star is not the weapon. We are." The alien whimpered, nodding desperately. The broadcast the battle did not remain hidden. Human ships recorded everything. The dropships, the landings, the slaughter. And then they released the footage across the galaxy. Billions watched. Species that had mocked humanity before now fell into silence. They had feared the Death Star, but now they saw the truth. The real terror was not the giant sphere. It was the warriors it carried. Alien Council in shock, the Galactic Council gathered once again. Their chamber shook with fear and confusion. They destroyed the base in hours. Our fleets would have needed days. They fight like nightmares. In armor. The speaker tried to calm them, but even his wings trembled. "Perhaps we can negotiate with them." A counselor hissed. "Negotiate? Did you not see? They did not even hesitate. They erased the base without warning. They do not want peace. They want dominance." The words spread through the chamber. Dominance. For the first time, the galaxy understood. Humanity was not begging for survival anymore. Humanity was hunting. Inside the Marines after the battle, the Marines returned to the Death Star. Their armor was scorched, their weapons bloodied, but their eyes cold and calm. They did not celebrate. They did not cheer. They simply prepared for the next fight. Commander Hale walked among them, silent. These were his soldiers. He knew their strength, but he also knew their cost. Each Marine was forged through pain, trained beyond limits, hardened until they became more weapon than man. He thought to himself, "This is what the galaxy forced us to become." Alien whispers across alien worlds. Fear turned into whispers. Traitors spoke of human demons. Refugees fled Dreth borders, afraid of being caught between war. Even neutral empires began moving fleets away from human space. But the Dreth Dominion did not back down. Their pride screamed louder than their fear. They began building a grand armada, millions of ships, planning to strike back in full force. And the humans knew it. Inside the Death Star, preparations continued. The Marines sharpened their blades. The ships refueled. The superlaser recharged. Galaxy waited in dread. The message one night cycle inside the Death Star. Commander Hale stood before his officers. His voice was steady. "They think the Death Star is our weapon. They are wrong. Our true weapon is fear. Every time they see our ships, every time they hear our name, they must remember today. The Marines are not just soldiers. They are the shadow of Earth's anger. And that shadow will cover every star that dares rise against us." The officers saluted. The Marines roared, and the galaxy trembled. The silence returns after the battle. The humans did not speak again. They sent no diplomats, no messages. The Death Star drifted quietly, like a predator circling the stars. The Dreth tried to rally courage. Other empires tried to decide join humanity or resist. But deep inside, every alien leader feared the same vision. Armored humans marching through their streets, carrying the silence of death. The galaxy had thought the Death Star was the end. Now they knew. It was only the beginning. The Dreth Dominion was angry. Their forward base had been burned. Their soldiers had been slaughtered. Their fleet had been humiliated. Across their empire, pride turned into rage. They could not accept defeat by what they once called primitive humans, and so they gathered their full strength, millions of ships, carriers, destroyers, cruisers, battleships. It was the largest armada the galaxy had seen in centuries. Worlds were emptied of fleets to form this single monstrous force. Their admirals shouted to their soldiers, "We will crush them. We will erase Earth. We will show the galaxy that no prey can defy the Dominion." The order was given. The armada moved, and the galaxy watched in silence, wondering if this was the day humanity would finally fall, or if the humans would do the unthinkable again. The calm of the death star inside the Death Star. There was no panic, no fear, only calm preparation. Commander Marcus Hawley stood in the command chamber, watching the data streams. He knew the Dreth would come. It was only a matter of time. Humanity had waited for this, trained for this, built for this. Status? Hawley asked. Captain Reyes replied. Scanners confirmed Dreth Armada inbound, millions of ships. They'll be in range within hours. Marines? Hawley asked. Ready, Reyes said firmly. Hawley nodded. His voice was cold and steady. Good. Then let them come. The Armada arrives. The void between the stars lit up with thousands of warp rifts. The Dreth Armada poured through like a tidal wave of steel. Ships filled the darkness in every direction. Their weapons glowed. Their engines burned bright. On every alien world watching the broadcast, people gasped. The size of the Armada was overwhelming. Never had so many ships gathered in one place, and in the middle of this storm of steel floated the Death Star and its escort fleet, calm and unmoving. A single moon-sized sphere against millions. The Dreth Admiral laughed. They hide behind their toy again. Break them apart. The order was given. The largest attack in galactic history began. The first strike, the Dreth Armada unleashed fire. Millions of beams and torpedoes lit the void. The storm of weapons crashed against the human fleet. The galaxy expected to see them burn, to see the Death Star collapse. But then came the shock. The Death Star's shields flared like a burning sun. Every shot struck, but none passed. Around it, the human fleet moved with precision, intercepting missiles, countering beams, breaking formations. Ships were smaller in number, but faster, sharper, deadlier. They cut through Dreth destroyers with focused fire. And whenever the Dreth tried to push close, the Death Star rotated slowly, menacingly, preparing its weapon. The super laser unleashed. Commander Hawley gave a single order. Fire. The Death Star's core glowed. The panels shifted. The hum grew into a roar. And then the beam of death fired. An entire Dreth battleship group, hundreds of ships, vanished in one flash of white light. No wreckage, no survivors. Only dust. The galaxy watching screamed in horror. The Dreth Admiral froze. His voice cracked. Keep firing. They can't destroy all of us. But even he did not believe his own words. The Space Marines bored while the fleets clashed. Human dropships launched from the Death Star. Thousands of Marines hurled into the chaos, aiming directly for Dreth capital ships. The Dreth thought the Death Star was the real threat. They had not understood the Marines. The first Dreth flagship shook as black-armored humans crashed through its hull. Alarms screamed. Soldiers rushed to defend the corridors. But the Marines were already there. Blades tore through steel. Rifles cut down entire squads. Marines moved like shadows, unstoppable. Within minutes, the flagship's bridge was seized. The Dreth Admiral was dragged to his knees before a towering Marine. The alien spat in defiance. The Marine broke his jaw with one strike and whispered, "Fear us." Then the Admiral was executed, and the flagship burned. The war turns. The Dreth had started the battle with confidence. They had believed their numbers would crush humanity. But now chaos spread, entire. Wings of ships were gone. Admirals were dead. Flagships were falling silent one by one. The Marines tore through their lines like knives through flesh. The Death Star kept firing, each blast erasing hundreds of vessels. The Dreth tried to regroup, form a wall, surround them. their commander shouted, but humans moved faster. Their ships broke holes in the wall, cutting through weak points with brutal precision. The Dreth realized too late. This was not a battle. This was a hunt. And they were the prey. The broadcast of fear the humans released the battlefiend's lev. Every shot, every explosion, every marine boarding was captured and spread across the galaxy. Billions watched in horror as the Dreth Armada, the strongest fleet known, was torn apart piece by piece. "They are unstoppable," whispered one counselor in the galactic chamber. "Nothing can face them. They don't fight for survival anymore," another said. "They fight for dominance." And for the first time, the Council truly feared that humanity might not stop with the Dreth. The Dreth collapsed. Hours passed. The Armada weakened. Ships fled. Entire groups surrendered. But the humans gave no mercy. Marines boarded surrendering vessels and silenced them permanently. The Death Star fired again and again, until the void was littered with burning wrecks. The Dreth Dominion, once feared across 50 star systems, was collapsing before the eyes of the galaxy. The old Dreth general, watching from a distant command post, whispered brokenly, I told you what they were." His eyes filled with tears of both fear and regret. "We should have never provoked them." But it was too late. The final blow. The remaining Dreth admiral tried one last desperate move. He gathered his closest ships and charged directly at the Death Star, screaming across comms, "Kill them! Even if we die, kill them!" The galaxy leaned forward, watching. Could they succeed? Could the Armada at least wound the human monster? Commander Hale's voice was calm. "Reyes, end it." The superlaser fired one final time. The charging fleet was erased instantly, glowing dust spreading across the void. The battle was over. The aftermath silence fell across the galaxy. Billions of eyes stared at the transmissions, unable to believe what they had seen. The largest armada in history had been destroyed. The Death Star floated unharmed. The Marines returned, calm and cold, as if nothing had happened. The galaxy trembled. The humans had not just defended themselves, they had broken the strongest empire known. And they had done it without mercy. The fear spreads in markets and homes. In military bases, across every world, aliens whispered, "Humans are demons. They destroyed millions. They will come for us next." The Council tried to control the panic, but even they were broken. Every species now had the same question in their hearts. Would humanity stop? Or would the Death Star turn its eye on them too? Inside, the Death Star commander Hawley stood on the command bridge. Outside, wreckage drifted like ashes in space. His officers waited for him to speak. He finally turned to them. His voice was quiet, steady, and terrifying. "The war has turned. We are no longer defending. From now on, we are the storm. And the galaxy will learn what it means to provoke Earth." The officers saluted in silence. The Death Star drifted onward. The galaxy held its breath. The war had changed forever. The galaxy was silent. Billions of stars watched. Countless species trembled, and the remnants of the Dreth Dominion hid behind their shattered fleets. No one dared speak. No one dared move. Humanity's wrath had been witnessed firsthand. The Death Star and its fleet floated in the void like a shadow of death. Its superlaser had erased entire fleets. Its Marines had conquered ships thought impenetrable. The galaxy had learned the hard way. Humans did not negotiate. Humans did not surrender. Humans destroyed. The message sent inside the Death Star, Commander Marcus Hawley moved silently across the command bridge. His eyes scanned the stars. Data flickered across screens. Destroyed fleets, retreating forces, fleeing survivors. Humanity had proven its power, but Hawley knew the war was not over. He turned to Captain Reyes. "Prepare the transmission," he ordered. Reyes raised an eyebrow. "The last transmission?" Hale's lips tightened. "The galaxy must know." "Not Just our strength. Our warning. A massive broadcast system activated. Signals spread across the void. Ships in every sector, every station, and every planetary system began receiving the message. Halle pressed a button. The transmission began. Hologram appears in every galactic capital, every council chamber, every command center. The same image appeared. A human soldier. Tall, armored in black, helmet reflecting the stars. Behind him, the Death Star and the human fleet glowed like a sun of metal. His voice was calm, measured, and deadly. "Attention," the soldier said. "We are the children of Earth. We have survived empires. We have endured betrayal. We have fought wars no species dared to imagine. And now we are awake." The camera panned to show Marines moving in perfect formation, weapons loaded. Eyes unseen behind visors. The galaxy gasped. "We are not your prey. We are not negotiators. We are hunters. If you threaten Earth, we will find you. If you rise against humanity, we will erase you. We will not stop. We do not tire. We do not forgive." The galaxy froze. Every species, from the smallest traders to the largest empires, understood the meaning. Humanity was no longer a weak species. Humanity was a force of unstoppable power. The Dreth panic and the Dreth dominions shattered capital. The council gathered desperately. Most ships were destroyed. Their leaders were dead or captured. Survivors trembled before the screens. The oldest general, scarred and wise, whispered, They have done it. They have shown the galaxy the edge of humanity's fury." The youngest officers were terrified. We cannot fight them. They destroyed everything we sent. Millions of ships, thousands of soldiers. They will come for us next." The general shook his head. "We underestimated them. We mocked them. And now, we cannot survive." The Marines prepare back inside the Death Star. The Space Marines were not celebrating. They were silent, calm, and ready. The battle for the galaxy had begun, and they were the tip of humanity's spear. Dropships readied. Weapons were cleaned. Marines ran simulations and drills. The galaxy would see them next, and no one would be ready. Halle walked among them. "Remember this," he said. "We do not fight for fame. We fight for survival. We fight for Earth. And any species that threatens us will feel our wrath." The Marines nodded. Their silence was heavier than words. It carried the weight of death itself. The first response across distant sectors. Alien fleets tried to regroup. A few fleets attempted to form a blockade, hoping to protect weaker worlds. Traders and neutral planets sent diplomats to Earth, begging for mercy, but humanity did not answer with words. They answered with presence. Every human ship, every Marine, every system of the Death Star was a reminder. The galaxy had one choice: submit, flee, or perish. The first blockade approached a critical trade system. The humans did not hesitate. The Death Star fired once. Hundreds of enemy ships disintegrated instantly. Marines boarded surviving vessels, disabling them permanently. A single transmission sent to all nearby fleets echoed in the void. "Do not test humanity." The galaxy learns fear everywhere. Fears spread. Species that had once mocked humans now fled or surrendered. Ambassadors begged for truce. Some hid their fleets, hoping to survive in silence. Traders refused to sell weapons. Soldiers abandoned their posts. The galaxy had learned the same lesson over and over. Humans did not fight to survive. Humans fought to dominate. And humans had awakened their deadliest tool, the Space Marines. The Dreth attempt rebellion, a remnant group of Dreth. Officers tried to regroup on a distant planet. They gathered ships and soldiers, hoping to mount a counterattack, but they were too late. Sensors detected their movement instantly. Human interceptors jumped into the system. Dropships deployed Marines directly onto the planet's surface. Within hours, the rebellion was crushed. The Dreth leaders were executed. The surviving soldiers surrendered in terror. Humanity's reach had become absolute. Commander Hale's warning hail addressed his officers. "This is the galaxy's last chance," he said. "We did not start the war. We were threatened. We were attacked. We have defended Earth. But if the galaxy does not respect us, if the next species dares to rise, they will fall as the Dreth have." Reyes looked at him, eyes sharp. "And if someone attacks Earth directly?" Hale's face was stone. "They will not have the chance. Humanity's reach is now beyond any empire. And we will ensure it stays that way." The Death Star hummed softly behind them. Its lights glowed across the command deck. A silent promise of power, patience, and vengeance. The final transmission, the last message, was sent to the galaxy. Not a threat, not a demand. Just a warning, clear and simple. Humanity will not be silenced. Anyone who threatens Earth will be destroyed. This is your last warning. Millions of planets received the transmission. Billions watched in fear. Silence followed. For the first time, the galaxy understood that humanity had changed forever. No empire would challenge them easily. No fleet would move without caution. The humans had made their mark, and it was indelible. The shadow of humanity inside the Death Star. Hale gazed into the void. The galaxy was quiet. Fleets had scattered. Planets were trembling. Humanity had proven its strength. But Hale knew the work was not done. Humanity was awakening. And the galaxy would soon feel the full force of its wrath. The Marines stood ready. The fleet glimmered in formation. The Death Star's superlaser rested like a predator waiting for prey. The galaxy had learned fear, and it would never forget it.